way to the US. Just a quick announcement for those that have the Baltic Honey Badger Bolt card. They're being rewritten. So if you want to go and if you've been trying to use it at one of the food trucks, I had the classic situation of watching Taj try and pay for a burger with lightning, which didn't work, and I'm like, oh, that's the guy that created the whole damn thing. Like he just broke lightning in front of my eyes. But they are being rewritten. There was a problem with them, so go find Max or Anna, and they will rewrite that for you. So coming up next is a friend of mine, Rob Brinded. If you want to learn a little bit more about Rob, you can catch him at the Consensus Network. He's got a book. It's called Mind Decentralized. I was honored enough to be asked and invited by Rob to write the foreword for that, so a big thank you. I met Rob when he came onto the Bitcoin scene out of nowhere. He entered my DMs in Twitter and said, because he'd seen I was trying to get in touch with Matthew Letizier, who was talking a lot of sense, an ex-English footballer talking a lot of sense during COVID. And Rob's like, yeah, I might be able to get you in touch with him. I'm like, what? Who's this guy? And it turns out he was working at Premiership football clubs for most of his career. So without further ado, please welcome Rob Brinded.
Hey, everyone. All right. So I'm just rocking the whiteboard because I'm a bit of a geek with the whiteboard. It makes me feel safe. So, yeah, can you, as close as possible together, yeah. Yeah, that's cool. Thank you. And I'm so geeky, I bought my own pens, and they're the best ones you can get, so they don't run out. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about the hidden hamster wheels within our mind. And you may be asking what that has to do with Bitcoin. But we're all interested in freedom. And I'm going to explain to you first, how I came across this work. It's been 30 years in the making, and how I did it for myself to try and free myself from my deep conditioning and programming from, this is going live stream, so my mum might watch this, but from my parents, and in looking at myself and helping, first of all, athletes, and then everyday individuals or high net worth individuals or gold medalists or world-class poker players or whoever I work with, is to free themselves from the suffering that they're happening, and everyone has it. And fundamentally, as humans, we walk around with this operating system in our mind, and no one has the manual for it. And it's simple, and by the end of this, hopefully I can point out a little bit of what's going on. So, yeah, so my background is in elite sport. I was head of strength and conditioning and injury prevention for Chelsea Football Club. So that's me eating next to Jose Mourinho. On the bench, we won back-to-back titles. I then went to work with Barcelona with a player there, and we won all 6 trophies, so it must be something to do with me. No. But I didn't have many photos, but I got that one in with the cups at Chelsea, and I was taken the piss out of by all the players, but it's worth it because I have that to prove it. So I want to tell you about a story. Again, I was head of strength and conditioning and injury prevention, so I created the very first injury prevention clinic in elite sport, and that was, I'd say, my superpower, so to speak, is to be able to see patterns in movement and behavior. I was into Sherlock Holmes when I was a kid, that type of thing. So this isn't the actual photo of the story I'm going to tell you, but I'm going to try and put you into, make you understand put you in the picture of where I first went down the rabbit hole of where I realized that not everything is physical. So this was a player. If you imagine, this is the initial setup in my gym, but it became a lot more elaborate. So there's a plumb line, and you can see actually from the photo that his head is leaning to one side. Can you see that? That was actually coming from his eyes. Yeah, because the head will always tilt position the head to get the strongest eye closest to the center line in hunting. So if there's a dysfunction in the eye's ability to accept, to get the correct information in, or there's something going on in the body, the eyes are one of the highest of the hierarchy survival inputs of the body. So you can see that with him, but so I'm just going to set the stage for this story. So I'm in my injury prevention clinic. I have the medical team around me. The player walks in. He's the best in the world at the time in his position. I ask him to stand in front of me. He has puts one foot on one scale, to weigh yourself, and another on another scale. These are the best scales. Roman Abramovich was the owner, so everything was the best, right? So we could see his weight shift. You can see there's going to be a weight shift issue, right? He's doing that. So he's going to be heavier on the right leg, right? So this player, world class, best in the world, he stood there, and I was about to start my posturology assessment, which was very advanced, looking at the eyes, the skin, the teeth, bite, scars in the body, skin of the feet, etc. And I'm standing there, and he's standing 8 kilos heavier on one leg, which is enormous amount. I'm looking for, like, if there's 1 kilo, what you want is balanced, yeah? But he was 8 kilos heavier on one leg. So different people in the team start saying, it must be coming, the chiropractor said it must be from the neck, podiatrist must be short leg, the doctor standing there with a syringe asking what to inject. Boom, boom. There's my first joke. And I'm standing there, and I'm about to start my assessment, and this thought in my head says, Rob, you need to do it. Come out of the closet with your ideas. And my ideas were that the mind affects the body. So I remember clearly, I was like in front of the medical team. I haven't talked about it, and I said to him, what's the best sex you've ever had? And his eyes go up to the right, and he starts going, tuk, 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 tuk. And so 30 minutes later, that's my next joke, he says, oh yeah, Romanian girl. And I'm not listening to what he's saying. You guys are wondering, what the hell am I talking about? Just wait. So I'm looking at the scales, and he balances out perfectly on the scales. And I look at the medical team, and their eyes cross, like dissonance. They don't know what I'm looking at. And I'm like, what the fuck? Did you see that? And no one saw. And the footballer's still thinking about what he's thinking about. And so immediately say, what's the worst moment of your life? And at that point, his energy, you could feel himself, like his energy collapse. You could feel something. And instantly he went to 9 kilos heavier on one leg. So I changed him using his mind quicker than anything I could do with all of my advanced training. And I was blown away. And that was the start of my journey down the rabbit's hole, because I walked home going, what the fuck happened? What just happened that I could change him that quickly? I've spent 30 years thinking about that. You guys are probably, so what? But it was, I changed 8 kilo on his posture. So I started off, it's just physical. I then moved into, well, actually the emotions are affecting his body. And then the galaxy brain down there. I arrived now at the highest point upstream, which is observing the operating systems of the mind, is where I'm fascinated. I'm going to be talking about that. So my system's masterless. It's becoming masterless. I started off at the at the physical level, looking at movement, the body, just that. I went down and I teach a course called Lightning Meditation, where you can access that 1 and 0 energy. Like the first thought strengthened him, 1, and the second thought, the sad thought, weakened him and put him further away from the midline. So I call that lightning meditation, layer 1, layer 2, excuse me. And then the base layer, which is very hard to change and is very secure, is where I do most of my work now. I call that meditation OS. So it's the operating system level. So I'm going to try to explain it to you like you took the vaccine for a donut, okay? So when we see the world, we're seeing not the world as it is, but our perception of it. So it's a little bit like a window that's dirty. So we all have dirt on the window, and it kind of just depends. Like no one sees the world as it is. I think we all get that. But if you can imagine that when you see something in the world that triggers you, that bothers you, it's coming from the window. Because if you have no mind, the way you perceive reality, if you had no mind, it's just perfect. Like you're like a dog. Yeah, So, you're kind of the story, and all your conditioning, all humanity's conditioning, is within that lens that you see life through. Okay? So I'm going to the whiteboard. This is going to be tough with this microphone. So this is the first time. Oh, thank you so much. This is the first time I explain this live. I do this all the time with my clients, so bear with me. It's not my whiteboard, so hopefully you can see this, yeah? Okay, that's a circle. What I notice when I work with clients, I've been doing it for a long time, is I listen to them very closely and I look for patterns. So if someone comes to me, let's say it's a high note, I have one in particular, there's a high net worth individual I work with, and he came to me and he was in a bad way, and he said to me, I've gained all of this money, everything I've gained. And I just feel completely lost. And I'm worried about losing everything that I've gained. And my health is deteriorating. And so when I was listening to him, I for the first time, I think it was with him, I drew a circle. So normally I just write things on the board, but I'm listening closely. First-hand observation is how you learn. So I'm just listening, and then I drew this circle, and I'm like, he keeps saying gain, and the opposite is loss, which is in fact how we perceive everything in reality. Our mind works like in duality. You're there, I'm here. I'm up here, you're down there. It's warm in here, it's colder outside. We perceive reality through our senses, and there's always an opposite. Okay, so I'm building the picture. So everyone included in here, you will have these. Now I'm going to use another word. This is a hamster wheel. This is what I've come to understand. There's another pattern in the behavior. So everyone in here wants to stack more sats, right? You want to gain more Bitcoin. Why? Why do you want to gain more Bitcoin? So I'll ask that a little later, but you want to also gain more health, don't you? You want to gain more clients, maybe. You want to gain more women or men, or we like gaining, but you don't want to gain more weight. Maybe you want to lose weight, but that's another story. And we don't like loss. Lost. This is winning. This is being right. This is being able, unable, wrong. So this hamster wheel is, if you imagine now any situation where you're wanting to gain more, maybe you want to gain more fulfillment, you want to gain more freedom. Let's stick with freedom. Because what? You don't like limitation. Who likes limitation in here? No one. Who wants to gain freedom? Right, everyone. So whenever there's an excessive drive or there's emotions around this, who really doesn't like being limited? People really don't like it, do they? It brings up anger because there's fear there. No one wants to lose their freedoms. Whenever there's an emotion, what happens is we start to want to go towards what we want, which is gain, yeah? And we start to move away from loss. This is behavior. So the gain-loss hamster wheel is you're trying to gain because you don't want to lose. Hamster wheels, however, go the opposite direction. Correct? Are you still with me? So when the hamster wheel, so this is you. You want to gain whatever it is, more freedom, more money, more love, more connection, more whatever. You put your energy into that because you're not content right now. You put more energy into there, the hamster wheel starts to spin the other way. That is the glitch in the mind. The mind works whenever you're looking something through this lens, the opposite which you're trying to run away from will pull you towards it. So this is why philosophers kill themselves. The smartest guys in the world, in a centralized system, the mind works like a centralized system. There's no way out of the hamster wheel. So this guy had gained all of this money, and now he feels completely lost. Does that make sense? I've got one shake of the head. I'll go with that. Now, it's a little bit more complex. Let me build on it. It could be support and letdown. How many people in here like to support others? It's going to be a lot of you because you're Bitcoiners, right? So who likes to let people down, which is the opposite of support? Support, letdown. Who likes to let people down? Who here has a behavior you always support everyone, but you end up being let down by others? Does anyone recognize that behavior? There's going to be some of you. So that's another hamster wheel. But I'm just saying that if you don't trust me, verify, look at yourself, observe your behavior, and you will see these patterns of hamster wheels in every one of your mind. And so here's where it gets a little bit more interesting for me. I know people who are weak to, I'm running out of time already, who are weak to gain. Do you remember I said the footballer, he was weak and strong? I know people who are weak to gain, so they spend all their time trying to gain. When they gain it, then they either sabotage or lose interest. Who here can relate to that? There's going to be people in here who are weak to gain. You'll spend the rest of your life trying to gain what you think you're trying to gain, but you won't be able to because you're in a hamster wheel, and it's a trap. There are people here who hate loss, spend all of their time trying to gain everything outside of them, gain ego, gain da-da-da. They will always end up with that one, and it's freaky, scary how much that can happen. So what to do about it, yeah? So fundamentally, I haven't got too much time left. So fundamentally, everyone just wants love, connection, and belonging. You can put safety in there as well. These are the unmet needs. And through gain, money, you're actually trying to gain connection, love, and belonging. By getting lots of Bitcoin, you're actually getting love, belonging, and connection with other Bitcoiners. Okay? And you want to try to, at all costs, avoid the loss you experienced when I'm going to put little Rob here and big Rob. I'll explain that in a second. where did this come from? So I spent a long time looking at first how to get off this hamster wheel that I had inside of me that were making me suffer and my clients. There's 3 ways off. 1, that's not a dick. This is usually my joke with my clients to kind of loosen it up a little bit. That's a pressure cooker top. The hamster wheel, whichever hamster wheel you're on, this is where you get freedom, and you use weed, alcohol, work, sex, porn, you name it, work. You know, I say work twice, maybe that I'm telling you something there about me. These are the addictions. What are they doing? You're chasing freedom. You'll come straight back in and experience loss after doing it. So when I work with addicts and I make them understand or help them to understand this, they don't do their addiction anymore. Is it still there? Well, the hamster wheels are always there, but once you know about them, they lose their control, okay? So that's one way off. The other way, I put it down here, is suicide. It has to be talked about. I had someone I know recently who killed themselves, a very young lady. It needs to be talked about. It is one way off, but there's another way, okay? And this is where you decentralize the mind. So my theory of how these programs start is when you're born, there's a disconnect between you and your parents. However hard the parents try to connect with their child, in Western civilization these days, it's just not possible. There's too much work, too many problems with the parents. If you were in a little village in South America, in the middle of the jungle, it still might have a full connection. This disconnect is a 1 and a 0. Again, coming back to the 1 and a 0. Everyone in here and in the world has experienced a 0. This is trauma. It's a trauma for a child. A child dies if it doesn't get any touch. It is a physiological need to experience love, connection, and belonging. You don't receive it. The child is very basic. It perceives abandonment. And things that are abandoned are worthless. Correct? So, worthless, shame, all the emotions, loss. The strongest loss you'll ever experience is that one. Everything else is compounded on it. You, as a little boy, me as a little boy, Rob, created an adaptation program as a defense mechanism for that lack of love, connection, and belonging. I don't blame my parents, and no one should blame their parents, because we're conditioned as humans. You create this basic program, and then it runs when you guys are all the shadowy coders. It's still running. And so you try and do everything you can with your logical mind to gain love, belonging, and connection, but you'll always come back to, so you'll try and gain value. You'll be drawn to things that are extremely valuable, Bitcoin, right? But it's because deep down you're triggered by people who make other people feel worthless, the government, debasing of currency, making it worthless. That triggers this program. So this program was created when you were 1, and then we're all adults now. So here's the solution. Sorry, time's up. The solution is to decentralize your mind. Jeff Booth says you cannot change a system from within the system. This is like playing chess with yourselves. This is why philosophers kill themselves. Remember, suicide. Decentralize your mind. What do? Instead of trying to, you react to your thinking about gaining and moving away from loss, you observe the hamster wheel and realize that it's not real. It's the program and the emotions of a little baby that are running again, and it seems like it's out there. You reconnect to the most important connection, belonging and love that you can ever do is this one, and then you will change your reality. And I've seen it again and again, and I do this with myself. I came on stage, I was holding little Rob tight because I was nervous, okay? So decentralizing the mind, you react, you reinforce this system. This is the tyrant. You're not truly free. if this is in control. So to bait some of the shadowy coders in here, the highest, J. Krishnamurti said, or I quote, "The highest form of intelligence is being able to observe your own behavior without commenting." Taoists call that Wu Wei, non-doing. Buddha, the more you try and improve your life and reach the zenith, the more you will reach the nadir. All the big boys knew it. And this is truth, and if you would like to talk to me further about it, I love this stuff. And just remember to reconnect with the little you, because the little you is the one who created the program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rob. Another round of applause, please, for Rob Brinded. And 1, 2.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Can I just say something quickly? I'm like a UFC fighter. Can I just grab the mic again? I've got a new book out. This is just a taster of a bigger book that I'm working on. If you'd like me to sign a copy, I'm going to sign them now. And I'd love to talk to you if you have any questions. Thank you very much.
And you can also do personal Zoom calls with Rob, which I have done myself, and with some of my kids as well, because like Rob, this stuff fascinates me. And so, yeah, go see Rob. Go see Rob out at the Consensus Network booth, where you can get that book, my book, other books. Most of the authors are here signing those books.